You're fasting 16 hours every day. You're eating high protein. You're avoiding junk food, but the scale hasn't moved in 3 weeks. You're doing everything right, so what's wrong? Here's the one thing that you are probably missing. I'm Dr. John D'Ambrosio, chiropractor for over 32 years, author of the book Fasting That Works. At 58, I lost 20 pounds of fat while maintaining and building muscle. If your progress is stalled, this is what will probably break you through your plateau. You're probably not doing resistance training. You're fasting, you're eating right, but you're doing zero weightlifting. Here's why this matters. Fasting burns fat, but if you want to build muscle or maximize strength while you lose fat, you need resistance training. Without it, you are literally leaving results on the table. You'll lose fat, but you won't build the muscle that makes you look and feel strong. Why does this matter? Fasting, it doesn't destroy muscle like traditional calorie restriction does. A lot of people think it does, but it does not. In fact, fasting preserves muscle better than eating tiny meals all day because growth hormone increases during fasting. But here's the thing, preservation of muscle is not the same as building muscle. If you want to actually get stronger, look more toned, and maximize your metabolism, you need to resistance train. Fasting creates the environment for fat loss, but resistance training builds the muscle. So, why does this matter? Because it'll help you break plateaus because muscle is metabolically active tissue. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. When you add muscle through resistance training, what happens? Your metabolism goes up, it increases. You burn more fat without changing your diet or your fasting schedule. That's how you break through plateaus. Not by eating less, not by fasting longer, but by building more muscle. Plus, here's a big thing, resistance training improves insulin sensitivity. Your muscles become actually better at absorbing glucose without needing as much insulin. Lower insulin means more fat burning. So, resistance training doesn't just build muscle, it makes fasting more effective by burning fat by keeping insulin lower throughout the day. Great, right? This is why people who lift weights while fasting lose fat faster than people who just fast without training. Now, when I say resistance training, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I have to spend hours in the gym. I do not mean complicated workouts. I mean 2 or 3 exercises, 2 to 3 times per week, 15 minutes per session. That's it. A leg press, a chest press, and a pull down or row. One set to failure. Slow, controlled reps. This is enough to build muscle and increase your metabolism and help you break through those fat loss plateaus. So here's what happens when you take fasting and combine it with resistance training. Fasting keeps insulin low, which allows your body to burn fat for fuel. Resistance training tells your body to build muscle. Now, what happens? You are getting the best of both worlds. You're burning fat during fasting hours and you're building muscle from the training. So, your body composition, it starts to change. You don't just lose weight, you lose fat and gain muscle. That's when you actually look and feel different. And here's the part that most people usually don't understand. You don't need to lift heavy weights to get the benefit. You just need to take your muscles to failure. Failure, what does this mean? It means you cannot do another rep with good form. It doesn't matter if you're using 50 pounds or 200 pounds. What matters is that you worked the muscle hard enough that it needs to recover and it needs to adapt. That's a signal that tells your body to actually start building muscle. Let me give you a kind of a practical example of what this looks like. Say Monday and Thursday, you do your workout, 15 minutes. Again, leg press, you could do a light warm up, but then you do a set of 8 to 12 reps. And you pick a weight that makes those last reps really hard. You cannot get any further. Chest press, same thing, one set to failure. And then a pull down or a row, again, the same thing. Then you're done. You're out of the gym in 15 minutes. That is enough to build muscle and increase your metabolism. You don't need multiple sets, you don't need fancy exercises, and you don't need to spend an hour training. One set to failure per exercise, 2 to 3 times a week, literally is enough to signal your body to build muscle. Most people don't understand this. And when you build muscle, your metabolism increases, you burn more calories at rest. Fat loss accelerates, the scale starts moving again. So, what's the bottom line? If you're doing everything right, but the scale won't move, you're probably missing resistance training. Fasting burns fat, resistance training builds muscle and increases metabolism. Together, they break through plateaus. 3 exercises, 2 to 3 times a week, 15 minutes per session. That's all you need. Add that, and the scale can start moving again. There's a link in the bio for a free cheat sheet to get started, or the full course if you want the complete system.